and it's showtime from downtown Winnipeg. Outside pass, a shot, they score! Shankly Cutter scores! What a stop by Hellebuck! Nikolai Ehlers off the faceoff!
Ground Control, the official podcast of the Winnipeg Jets, hosted by Jets TV.
Good day and welcome to another episode of Ground Control, the official podcast of the Winnipeg Jets. Joined here by Jets TV's Mitchell Clinton and, of course, 680 CJOB's Jamie Thomas. We're coming to you from the road for the first time this season. And obviously we're doing this over Zoom. As we record this right now, the team is going through a bit of a COVID situation. Blake Wheeler has entered the league's COVID protocols at this time as we record the podcast on Monday afternoon. We'll get some more clarity on that as the week goes along. But nonetheless, we're coming to you. We're still going to podcast. Week in review. Mitchell, your thoughts? Obviously, the Jets not starting on the best of terms here this season, falling 4-1 to the Anaheim Ducks last Wednesday, and then a tight 4-3 loss to the San Jose Sharks on Saturday night. Just your thoughts on the two games overall.
Yeah, I mean, some good things. You hear that a lot from the players. You hear it from Paul Maurice. Just the only thing that Paul Maurice wants is he wants to see the players get quicker. And that's pretty much it. Like you're adjusting to some new faces and some new looks in your lineup and all that stuff. But I think what we've seen are some positives that can definitely be built on. I think what really helps is the age of this group is not what it was, say, 4 or 5 years ago. You don't have a bunch of young guys going through this. You have some guys that have played some National Hockey League games, have some seasons under their belts, and know that while you would love to have won the first two games and be 2-0 going up against the 2-0 Minnesota Wild as we record this, that's not the case, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can't come out of here 1-2 and then head home and, you got your fans behind you and, everything can happen after that. So there's a long way to go still in this regular season. Despite the losses to Anaheim, who they're going to see another 2 times in the next week and a half or so, 2 weeks. So, and then also a loss to the San Jose Sharks. But I think in a number of different ways, whether it was some of the 5-on-5 play, it does seem that breaking the puck out of the zone does seem to be something that this team is doing quite well. When they get control, they're quite efficient at getting out of their own zone. I think, and Nate Schmidt and Nikolai Ehlers both alluded to this, just got to get some more pucks to the net. Create a little bit more havoc in the offensive zone, but there are some positives. Yes, they would love to be 2-0 or 1-1 as opposed to 0-2, but at this point, I don't think there's anyone near the panic button on this group.
Jamie, the power play and penalty kill have become the headlines, at least for the media in the last few days. Just your thoughts on those two special teams aspects, and just what's not working in both that has allowed them to start as tough as they have. But obviously there is some light at the end of the tunnel, I think, with this.
Right. I think first, we probably wouldn't even be talking about the power play if it wasn't for John Gibson in Anaheim on Wednesday, because I think Josh Morrissey was looking skyward numerous times that game. Nikolai Ehlers said he had a couple of looks that if he had those ones again, he would probably score on them. So that all being said, I think, the power play looked great there, but when it got to San Jose, clearly Bob Boughner and his coaching staff had some looks at the Jets power play on video, and they really jammed up the neutral zone and made it very difficult on their entries. So, I mean, you still have so much talent there. The puck's going to eventually find its way in the net, and then we're not going to have to talk about this much longer. But 0-8 to start a road trip and you're 0-2, it's easy to point at the power play as part of the issue. I don't have any concerns there. Where the concern lies is the penalty kill. You lose Nate Thompson and Trevor Lewis. I think we all knew that there'd be this little period here. And Paul Maurice said to us the other day, he had to call a couple of guys out of retirement in the penalty kill department. And those two were Blake Wheeler and Paul Stastny. Clearly this isn't a plan you want going forward, because you don't want Blake Wheeler going over 25 minutes over 20 minutes too many times down an 82 game season. And Paul Stastny doesn't need to be playing that much either. So Jansen Harkins, Kristian Vesalainen, you got other guys that are going to have to kind of step up and get acclimated to killing penalties at some point. And I was fascinated to find out that Jansen Harkins hasn't really killed penalties that much. He didn't do it in junior hockey. He didn't do it a whole lot in the American Hockey League level either, but has the speed, has good hands, has the ability to do it. And we've seen so many forwards come from the Manitoba Moose over the years and kill penalties and work their way into the lineup that way. So if you're going to be on the fourth line, you're going to have to kill penalties. And this is something that will iron itself out as well. But I also love what Paul Maurice said. The power play gets off to the penalty kill gets off to a slow start. Then he's going to have to defend it and say, well, as of November 1st, our penalty kill has been like this. And we've seen this over the past few years, slow starts, the penalty kill, everything else. So it's easy to point at that area to find a concern why you're 0-2, but this is all a veteran team and they'll get this stuff figured out. There's still 80 games to go here.
Yeah, and like you said, Jamie, if you're playing on the fourth line, you have to penalty kill. That is not the case. Riley Nash skating in Blake Wheeler's spot on Monday during practice. So a couple of Swiss Army knives there for the Winnipeg Jets. Mitch, you touched on it in your first answer a little bit, but I'll get you to elaborate. This Jets team on Monday at practice, they seem loose. They seem like they're having fun, and we have the privilege of seeing the guys away from the arena right now. And there's not a whole lot of panic in this group. Just what is it that gives you the confidence about this team that they will be able to rebound? And that doesn't necessarily mean getting the W against Minnesota, who's a very good team, but what gives you the confidence that they will be able to get themselves out of this and get into the win column with consistency?
Well, number one, I think that the power play will start to click. That is just there's just too much talent there for it not to happen. As long as they keep getting the looks, I think they're going to get rewarded. It's that same concept as Paul Maurice likes to talk about. If you have a goal scorer on your team and he's not scoring goals, the first thing you check is he getting the chances? And the Jets are getting the chances on the power play, so that it's going to happen. Penalty kill, I think, will also continue to improve as guys kind of get used to each other. And then at 5-on-5, I think this team has been pretty good. I mentioned the breakouts a little bit earlier. Ultimately, it just comes down to playing connected, as they like to say, but then also, being fast. And I asked Nikolai Ehlers about this on Monday. I said, okay, well, playing fast, there's, skating fast, I suppose, but what is kind of the first step in making sure you guys are doing that on a consistent basis? And he said, some of it is simplicity, but a lot of it is just, being able to just make your decisions quicker, be, in good puck support positions, being able to move quickly as a unit. And then when the Jets are playing fast like that, they're a tough team to handle just because of all the speed that is throughout the lineup. And then, if you create any sort of chaos in the offensive zone because of it, well, the Winnipeg Jets have some shooters that can beat. So yeah, they ran into a real hot goaltender in John Gibson in the first game. Seemed to be well on their way in game number 2 against the San Jose Sharks before things kind of started to go a little bit sideways on them. So, it's a matter of obviously doing everything for a full 60, as they always like to say. But at the same time, I've seen enough glimpses of it over the last little bit to know that it's going to come. It's just a matter of them putting it all together.
Jamie, before we get to our guest, Cole Perfetti, I'll get your thoughts on his play through the first 2 games. Obviously, the first game in Anaheim is probably a bit of a blur for him, although personally I thought he played pretty solidly through those first 2 in California. Just what have you thought of the young forwards game?
I think we saw the last preseason game against Calgary. You kind of saw it click a little bit where he was confident holding onto the puck and coming out of traffic with the puck. So then I think that gave Paul Maurice enough confidence to put him in the opening night lineup, because he just saw that light come on for him and realized that he can do that at the National Hockey League level. And then he's, I think his perfect place for him clearly has been with Paul Stastny and Adam Lowry. I know that didn't transpire the way they wanted to because they got behind and they were chasing it in the third period, got sad a little bit, but you see the ability to make plays. There's a breakout play in the first period in San Jose, beautiful pass to Adam Lowry. Then a little bit later, there's a nice chip play at the blue line. So you see this capability, these flashes, glimpses of why he's a first round pick. It's just going to take time. And I know everyone's going, oh, this guy's here. Okay, we look at Mason McTavish. Anaheim does not have the forward depth that the Jets do. William Eklund, first round pick last year, 2021 for the Sharks. San Jose does not have the forward depth the Winnipeg Jets do. So before we're all, let's get at Cole Perfetti in the top 6, that's just not the way it's going to work right now because of the depth the Jets have up front. So I think for what he's had in the short time he's been in the National Hockey League, he looks fine. He'll get better. But as Paul Maurice says, the first priority for him is the Winnipeg Jets, and then very close second is Cole Perfetti's development. I think there's the sky is the limit clearly for him. That's why he was picked so highly up. But he's so young and so much to learn, but man, you just see why everyone thinks he's so special for sure.
Well, that's enough from us. We'll turn it over to our interview with Cole, a very nice young man, and he took the time to do this after practice out in the hallway. You'll find out why at the end of the interview. So anyway, enjoy. It's a great conversation.
Go.
Mark Scheifele with a one-timer through the seam.
Jets.
Oh, what a save! Potter, hell of a
Go. Jets fans, are you ready for takeoff? Are you ready for the return of live in-person NHL hockey? The 21-22 season is just around the corner. Get your tickets now at winnipegjets.com/tickets. Quarter season plans, single game tickets, and full season seat packages are available. Visit winnipegjets.com/tickets and buy now.
Hi, this is Cole Perfetti, and you're listening to Ground Control, the official podcast of the Winnipeg Jets.
Joined here on the Ground Control podcast by the man himself, Cole Perfetti. Obviously, Cole made his NHL debut against the Anaheim Ducks to open the season for the Winnipeg Jets. First off, Cole, just, how have the last few days been for you now that you've got those first few games under your belt?
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. It's been a lot of fun. Having your first NHL road trip, be a Cali trip, it's pretty cool. Lots of stuff to do, and just being with the guys every day. It's lots to learn, and it's been a great experience. Obviously, playing in those two games were pretty nuts. It's kind of a dream come true. I mean, you dream of playing your first NHL game, and to be able to do that on opening night, it was pretty special. And follow that up with another game. It's just exciting, and hopefully can just keep playing for as long as possible, and just keep going from here.
Can you take us through your day last Wednesday? We'll get to your parents and the day that they had as well, but how are the nerves going into that first game?
Yeah, I think, there's definitely a lot on my mind, a lot of text messages and family, friends reaching out, just wishing me the best of luck and congratulations. It was, there was a little bit of nerves for sure. I think that's expected with your first NHL game. You wait your whole life for that one game, and yeah, it was a long day, a lot of waiting, just trying to get to the rink as fast as possible and start the process and get on the ice. But once the game started, I kind of just treated it like another game, something I've done many times in my life. And, once you get the warm up done and your first shift out of the way, it's just like any other hockey game. So that was kind of my mindset, but definitely a special day and something that I will never forget.
You talk about treating it like any other game, but obviously it's your first National Hockey League game. Did you sort of have a welcome to the NHL moment, whether it was a bump from somebody along the wall or just lining up on a face-off and seeing the guy across from you that just kind of blew you away? Or was it something off the ice that just sort of made you go hey, I'm in the National Hockey League
now? There were a couple things, just nothing too big that was one specific moment, but just kind of in the room with the guys before warm up, before the game, just looking around and getting ready for a National Hockey League game. It's crazy to think about. I guess maybe going into the second game, there was lined up and 5 feet away from me was Brent Burns and Eric Carlson. And, those are two guys that I watched when I was 9 years old. And, they were just young guys in the league at that time. So, it's kind of it's pretty surreal knowing, that you're playing against guys that, you watched as a little kid and dreamed of being and playing against. So, that was pretty cool playing against them. And this whole week's just been awesome.
So how much of your parents' travel story did you know before the game, or did you find out about all of that after the game? And I will say, we don't do a video pod, but we should, because you're also wearing a Titleist hat right now, as was your dad at the rink. So I'm wondering if you guys are both big Titleist fans. Anyways, but my actual question is about how much of your parents' travel story did you know?
So I obviously knew that they were coming in. I mean, it all happened so quick. Like I called my parents the day before and said that I was in the lineup, and they were scrambling for flights, and we were obviously on our way to Anaheim. So I got on the flight not knowing if they were going to be able to make it or not. And by the time we landed, they had said they found a flight and they were on their way early in the morning. And then obviously with there are lots of travel and my schedule, I didn't really get to talk to them too much. I called my mom and dad quickly just before we headed to the rink, just saying, because they had just landed, and I was just saying, heading to the rink now, I'll see you guys after the game. And they kind of just gave me good luck and I love you and go get them. And I heard about all that after, about them almost missing the flight and all that craziness. But that just adds to the story. It was pretty cool. And, it was obviously meant to be. They've seen a lot of hockey games, and, they've been this far. I don't think they were going to do whatever they could to make sure they were getting to that first game.
Did you have a chance to chat with them after the game in Anaheim, or was that over the phone as well?
Yeah, it was actually not really. There's nowhere to meet, so went out to the bench quickly, and they came down to the stands and kind of talking through the glass. It was pretty. It kind of sucked for that. I mean, I wish I could just give them a big hug and tell them how much I appreciate everything they've done, and for, especially coming that night and everything they did to help me get to that spot. So that kind of sucked, but at the same time, I was just glad to see them and know that they were in the building for my first game. And obviously after they just got to the parking lot where the bus was, and I called them immediately just talk about it and just go over the night. And it was pretty cool. I just wish I was able to see them in person and give them a big hug and just say thank you.
Well, we'll use the Ground Control podcast to do that, so that you have just given that message out. The last question about that, did you text Jamie Drysdale at all to thank his dad through him?
I actually didn't, but my parents are close with Drysdale's parents, and I just kind of said to Gary at the end, just thank you. And just a funny story. It was weird how it all happened. I don't think Gary actually planned on coming to the game, and my dad called him and said we're going, and I think they booked the Drysdales booked a flight the next day, like right away. And if it wasn't for him booking that flight, I don't know if my parents would have made it. So like I said, everything happens for a reason, and it was just meant to be.
Just one last one on your parents. Are they planning on being in Winnipeg at all for the first set of home games this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, they were in Winnipeg for the 2 weeks ago for the first two preseason games.
Okay.
And then they obviously went home and have taken another 5 days off work here to be in the Cali trip. So they I don't know, maybe they got to get back to work sometime soon. I don't know how much time they have off, but hopefully they can get out soon. It's obviously they drove 2 weeks ago, but now it's going to be a little quick flight. So hoping they can get out, and obviously just going to play it by ear and see what the situation is for the lineup and all that stuff, and what's happening. And it would be really special if they could make it out for my first Jets home game, whenever that is. So hopefully, but at the end of the day, I'm just glad they made it to the first ever NHL game. And that was the big one. That was the important one for me. But hopefully when the time comes that they're there in Winnipeg.
Off the ice, has there been any of the guys on the team, or maybe a coach that's just sort of been a mentor for you, so to speak, you've had some good conversations with, that you've been able to bounce things off of and just really feel comfortable within the group?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been really good with me. All the guys have been really good. Obviously they like to tease and give it to the younger guy. So I've been taking a little bit of heat here and there, but they're all really good. Going out for dinners and going golf and stuff like that. Like everyone's been really good with me. So a guy that I kind of talked to from last year, and then obviously this year was Mark, and he's a guy that I want to learn from, and he's had a heck of a career so far. So he's kind of taken me a little bit under his wing and has been really helpful. I've been saying that, like, there really isn't one guy. Everyone's been great and been learning from everyone, and it's a really good group here with how nice everyone is and the leaders. So yeah, it's been good.
Last question for me. If you could pinpoint one thing as the biggest adjustment to the NHL game, what would that one thing be?
I think it would just be, how fast it is, like the puck movement, the skating, everything happens at a, just such a high level, and it's so quick that, in junior, even in the AHL last year, it was like, you get a couple seconds with the puck on your stick, and you can make a play. Here it's you get the puck on your stick for a second, you're like, wow, I had it there for a long time. So it just everything happens so fast. They're on you so quick, and you see a play and it gets closed off quickly if you don't make it. So you really have to be able to think the game and just be able to make quick decisions. It's been really good. I think there's been lots to learn, and I think that favors into my game. So I'm excited for it. Just gonna have to obviously get more comfortable with the experience, and the more games I play, I think the better I'll feel. So just one game at a time. Each game is a learning curve, and stepping stone in my career. So I think I'm just gonna learn each game and just take that and implement it into my next. So
one last one to close things out. Obviously people can't see this, but you're out in the hallway at the hotel because when you're on your rookie contract, you have a roommate on the road, and your roommate this year, like you said earlier, was Kristian Vesalainen. What have you learned about Kristian, and what has he learned about you in the last week?
Yeah. We honestly haven't spent, while we were in California, we did a lot of things as a team. And so honestly, we didn't even spend that much time in the room together. Like, we were going like dinners and going to the mall, or we did the golfing trip the one day. So, he likes, I do know that he likes to call his buddies from back home, and he likes to get on FaceTime, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And talk to his buddies and finish back home. So I have no idea what's going on. He's just yelling into the phone, and I have no idea what he's saying, but he definitely loves the FaceTime. So it's kind of cool.
That's funny. All right, Cole, we'll let you get to the rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Winnipeg Jets fans, did you know that online 50/50 tickets presented by PlayNow.com are available for all Winnipeg Jets games? That's right. Whether the Jets play on the road or at home, you can participate in the game day 50/50 draw. The winner will take home half of the jackpot, with all proceeds in support of the True North Youth Foundation. Remember to buy your tickets on all Jets game days at winnipegjets.com/50/50.
Thanks so much to Cole for taking the time. I'm thankful I don't have a roommate on the road. I really like you guys, but
I remember when we were in Tampa for the All-Star game, Mitch got a room to himself, and I had to share a room with Ryan Dittrich. And it was, I'm like, what is this? So I don't even remember how that all happened. I think you just walked into the room. You just took the key and you're like, I'm going to go in this room by myself.
Don't mind me. I'll just stroll over here.
Actually, you used seniority, Mitch, on that one. So that's
yeah, maybe.
Remember the one time the three of us had to share a room because we missed our flight leaving Denver, or there was a snowstorm, or I think we missed the flight. I
slept in the lobby while you guys slept in your bed.
That is not true. We put you in the other room because you're a senior citizen and you wake up at 5 a.m. and you're watching TV.
I go get my paper off the street there at that time.
Okay. All right. Well, enough about
Love my crosswords.
The week ahead for the Winnipeg Jets is upon us. They take on the Minnesota Wild to finish up their road trip. And then the home opener against Anaheim, and then their second game against the Nashville Predators at Canada Life Center. Those last two, you can get tickets online at winnipegjets.com/tickets. Lots of great seats available. So look forward to seeing everybody down there. Obviously, we're going to have the new projection rolling at a full pace out on the ice. So that'll be a cool show. Always neat to see the guys do the skate out and the stick salute. And it's a great show aside from the hockey itself, which of course we know will be awesome too. So Mitchell, I'll get you just to run through the week that's upon us and what you're expecting from the Jets and their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see the rematch for the home opener between the Jets and the Ducks. It's almost like you just feel like the Winnipeg Jets are going to be like, we are not losing in this home opener. We are not like getting beaten by like, it just feels like that never happens. So that's just kind of what I imagine the approach will kind of be for the Jets there. And then as they move on through the week, I mean, yeah, a number of the faces are different. There's on both sides, but I just can't imagine, when the Nashville Predators come into Winnipeg, that there won't be some level of rivalry there. It might take all of 3 minutes of the first period before that really fires up. So and then you mentioned obviously the Minnesota game on Tuesday, which starts the week. The Wild are off to a real strong start, and Paul Maurice kind of touched on this, but it's interesting to think that because the Jets haven't played the Wild in almost 2 years, you're looking at a group that doesn't have Mikko Koivu or Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, Devin Dubnyk, like those four names, like they're just not there anymore. And it just feels weird to be going up against a Wild team that doesn't have that. But that part's interesting. The other thing that you mentioned tickets for those games. The other thing to mention is, of course, head to winnipegjets.com during the morning skates on both of those home days for the pregame show. Be able to tune into that, and we'll set it all up. So have to make sure to plug that as well.
Yes, smart man, Mitchell. You can obviously winnipegjets.com and the Jets TV player, as well as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and that's it. There's no more. We probably could do a TikTok live or something, but I don't think we're going to do that.
we would have to be way smarter than we are.
I don't have TikTok, so all right. Someone who maybe has TikTok, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to ask him one day. Jamie, what have you thought of his game? Obviously, he got the goal to get things started against San Jose, which makes the trade even.
It's all even now.
Because Patty Laine scored an OT winner, and then 3 minutes later, Pierre-Luc found the back of the net. So I just love how the storylines work out. But in all seriousness, just what have you thought of the big forwards play through the first two?
Fantastic. And what we saw last year when he was acclimating himself as a Winnipeg Jet was deferring a lot, giving the puck to Blake Wheeler or Mark Scheifele. Now he's not doing that as much, and he's starting to shoot a lot more. And to be honest, he very well could have had a hat trick Monday the other night in San Jose. He was playing that well. So playing with Andrew Kopp and Nikolai Ehlers is a great setup. However, this whole thing shakes out with Blake Wheeler, we'll see how that goes. But I like his play. He's throwing his weight around a lot more. He looks more comfortable. Certainly that he's working on his conditioning in the offseason has worked. So by all signs here early on, and having him on that first power play unit, it's going to be a big boon from him as things get going. They get more comfortable with each other. But everything I've seen from number 80 this year has been A+ so far.
All right, well, that'll just about do it for us here on the Ground Control Podcast, the official podcast of the Winnipeg Jets. On behalf of myself, Tyler Esquivel, Jets TV's Mitchell Clinton, and of course, Six City CJOB's Jamie Thomas. I almost messed up your names there. I'm sorry. And of course, Cole Perfetti for joining us from the hallway. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen. Have a great week, everybody, and go Jets go.
This has been Ground Control, the official podcast of the Winnipeg Jets, hosted by Jets TV. For Jets news, videos, and more, head to winnipegjets.com.
Proceed when able.